Hey guys, welcome to my review of the Guardians of the Galaxy exclusive IMAX 3D 17-minute preview. It was on yesterday, so I watched it yesterday. So, yeah, it was fantastic. I can't wait to talk about it. But before I do, I'll just like to do a quick spoiler warning because regarding the footage, I'm going to be talking about what we saw in the footage. And the thing is, the footage was basically just one scene from the movie, a long scene from the movie. And it was basically near the start. So it's when they break out of jail. We'll see it in the trailer. It's the scene when they break out of jail. So in case you don't really want to know what happens in that scene, just beware. There will be spoilers, I guess, but it doesn't spoil the movie. I promise. And yeah, so I'm just gonna get straight into it. But one thing, sorry, before I do, I'd like just to say that I was in the cinema for about 20 minutes, like in my seat, waiting for everyone else to come in and that, 15, 20 minutes. And there was a nice touch. In the background, there was music on, and then it took me a few minutes to notice, or realize, but the music was actually all the songs from the soundtrack. For example, we had Hooked on a Feeling, I Want You Back, Cherry Bomb, Spirit in the Sky, and other songs, and I thought that was pretty cool, nice touch. I don't know if anyone else noticed, but I certainly did. And in case you're wondering, the soundtrack does come out later this month, by the way. And, okay, now we'll move on to the review of the footage. Now, the footage was great. It's basically, like I said before, the prison breakout scene, but there is a little bit before it. As we see in the trailer, we see the part when we get the quick rundown of who each person is. Like we get Star-Lord doing his little thing with his finger. We get all the other characters, but it was pretty cool because it was extended, so you get to learn a tiny bit more about them. But my favorite was Gamora. Why? Because they mentioned how she's a daughter of Thanos and she's a sister of Nebula, and they mentioned Ronan as well. But whilst they're saying each person's name, they have a little hologram picture of them, and one of them is of Thanos, so we see Thanos' face. So that was that was so cool. That was sick as. Except the only problem is that half of his face was in shadow, so you don't see it 100%. But we did see his face, and it was awesome. I just would like to point that out, that was one of the highlights for this whole thing for me, just because we finally got to see his face properly, sort of-ish, I guess. But that was pretty cool. And after that, we see the part how, as we see in the trailer, when they're walking along, and then Star-Lord sees that one guy listening to his music, Hooked on a Feeling. And like we see, he gets tasered, but instead in the trailer, he only get tasered once, but in this one, he has tasered 3 times. So at that point, you really do feel bad for him. Then we see each of the members getting their prison uniform and some other bits and pieces, and they walk into the cafeteria area, and then everyone hates them. Basically because Gamora. Because they think Gamora worked for Ronan and Nebula and that, and a lot of the prisoners have lost family members and loved ones to Ronan, so they don't really like Gamora or basically any of the Guardians. So, yeah, so that was pretty interesting. And then Groot and Rocket basically make this big announcement and basically nearly kill someone just to prove a point, and that everyone should just leave them alone. And then basically that having the cafeteria food straight after that, basically, and the Rocket is talking to Star-Lord, Gamora, and Groot about a plan to escape the facility. And whilst Rocket is telling Gamora and Star-Lord what to do, Groot basically just goes, and it's hard to explain, but they need this little device that's in a watchtower within the room, and instead of doing this skillful plan to get it, Groot just goes and grabs it straight away. Then we see this cool battle, like Drax beats up some guys and gets one of their guns, gives it to Rocket, and that's when he says, "Oh yeah," you know that thing, yeah. And he's shooting. That's when he starts shooting, and it's pretty cool. Gamora breaks some guy's arm to get a device that's implanted in his arm. Like she takes it once he breaks his arm, and Star-Lord's pretty funny. He's just trying to get a fake leg off of some guy, which is it's hard to explain, but when you watch it, it's pretty funny. And that's basically what everyone's doing. Then they eventually escape. There's a few more details, but I don't really want to spoil the entire scene for you. But they eventually escape, and yeah, it was awesome. It was great. So that was basically it. But that only really lasted 15 minutes. So the last 2 minutes of the 17-minute preview was like a quick mini trailer, I guess. And that was sick. It really, especially that those last few minutes, because we watch it in IMAX 3D, it really makes you think this movie, you need to watch it in 3D. I reckon this movie is a 3D movie. It'll look much better in 3D. So I'm definitely watching it in 3D. But I recommend watching it in 3D. It looks much better, I personally think. But in the 2-minute trailer thingy at the end, we did say some interesting things. We saw bits and pieces like footage that we haven't seen in any of the trailers yet. So that was pretty cool. But my favourite thing was Thanos. Yeah, we sort of saw Thanos. Basically, if you remember in the after credit scene of the Avengers, Thanos' throne is like in that rocky area, and Ronan is basically kneeling down on one leg, facing Thanos, and we see this throne, the back of a throne, and then we see Thanos' arms like on the armchairs, and that's what you see of him. But it's really cool, and it really looks like the comics. Like you can see the gold and blue, and that was awesome. That was sick. I really got excited when I saw that. Like first I saw his face as a hologram, then we saw this, so that was really cool for me. And we will be seeing more of him, and hopefully we get to see his whole body or something in the full movie. But and actually at the start of the footage, the Guardians do mention Yondu, who we've seen in like promotional artwork and that recently. So yeah, there were little bits and pieces in it, and I know it's part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and all, but when you're watching this, it doesn't feel like it's part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It feels like it is its own movie. I know Thanos will tie everything in together, but it really does feel like its own movie, and I really do like that. And the prison breakout scene was excellent. At first, when like you sort of felt bad for Star-Lord and the other characters, but then you got into it and you're like, oh yeah, it's okay now. Like you have this sad-ish feeling at the start, but then you really get into it with all the action and the humor. And Rocket was really funny, so Star-Lord. Just from this, like I knew they'd probably be my favorites, but then them two definitely are. And yeah, it was great. But only the one thing that I would like to complain about, I guess, is Drax. He wasn't as good as I thought he'd be, because it's mainly Gamora, Groot, Rocket, and Star-Lord that are, a team. And then Drax is sort of just there, and he just joins in, because we don't see this in the footage, but apparently early in the movie, Star-Lord made a promise with Drax that he can come with them or something like that, and so he's sort of there, but I'm not a big fan of him yet. I think hopefully he'll grow on me when I, watch the whole movie or something, but now not really much. But overall, the footage was fantastic. It definitely wants to make me watch the movie even more. So it was fantastic. I'm gonna give this like an 8 out of 10. I loved it. It was definitely worth it. Going down just to this theater only for 17 minutes was definitely worth it. And when you went, I don't know if this happened at the other IMAX cinemas, but my one, they gave us a free poster, which is basically what you see on the screen right now, and a free ice cream. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, overall it was fantastic, 8 out of 10. And it definitely, like I said, makes me want to watch the movie even more now. So I'm really looking forward to this movie much more than I was before. And yeah, it's fantastic. Hope you enjoyed this video. I have many more reviews and comic book reviews and movie reviews and other random videos on my channel, so make sure you check them out. And while you're there, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time.
I can't stop this feeling deep inside of me. Girl, you just don't